Hi all. Recently I've been on Facebook doing the old check the forums pages on the MP5 pages, and one of the things I've noticed is there's a lot of confusion about magazines for the MP5, and with the advent of Zenith and POF, Dakota Tactical and other clones, and now that HK's reintroduced their own MP5 pistol back into the market, everybody's like, well, I would like some real German magazines. I would like some real HK magazines. How can I tell which what? And there's a few articles on the internet, and to be truthful, a lot of them contradict each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the magazines I have. I have no doubt that these are HK. I'm a pretty old guy, and these have been in my inventory for quite some time. And when you're looking at magazines, it's kind of hard to do it on the internet, but in the gun show area, if, for example, you go to Knob Creek and you pick a magazine up off the table, you might know what to look for. First, as you can see, there's not a lot, but a fair amount of mags on the table. You'll see straight ones and curved ones, and over here on the end, there's even a 15 rounder. Alright, the big thing is here, if you don't know, the straight magazine was first. The straight magazines are, if they're German, will have these dents in the side or these indentations. If you see a straight MP5 magazine and it doesn't have these, it's not an HK magazine. Okay, it's simply not. Years ago, I purchased some straight mags. They turned out to be Greek, and a couple were POF that were straight, that didn't have these dents on the side. Of course, they were represented as German, but they had no dates on them. They didn't work worth a crap. I actually destroyed a few of them, and then just gave the other ones away to people who had no mags or few mags at all. The other thing to notice about this is a lot of these mags, mine in particular, came in 3-cell green pouches. This right here, this little circle, is actually the wear mark from the pouch. So if you see a magazine that's got some wear on it like this one, you might look for this, because that means it was a real German police or military issued mag. Okay, what else am I looking for when I'm looking at a straight HK mag? Plastic follower. No metal, plastic. So, and I will literally put up every version, every date code I have, so you guys can see them. Now, since I am not the best with a camera, I'll probably have to splice these all together because it won't flow. So forgive the lack of flowing on the editing. But as you can see, this one's from 1967. A little later in 1967, plastic follower. December 67. Oh, some of these are loaded because we're going to the range this weekend. '67. November 67. Also notice they say MP5 and they have the HK, stylized HK symbols. It's just not a printed HK. '68. Now here's one you'll see a lot. This came with the same group of mags. As you can see, here's that little circle. This one However, it says SD. It's from 74. That's a legitimate marking. There's the stylized HK. Plastic follower. Here's another SD. Later date. Stylized HK. Plastic follower. Now here's something interesting, which I didn't realize that they made that many of these. This is actually a date coded straight mag. The SD is gone, and now they're using date codes. I believe that's an IG. Still, plastic follower. IH. No SD, stylized HK, plastic follower. This is the latest straight mag I have. So now I'm going to go into curve mags. Curve mags came about in the 70s. So the earliest one I have is this one. And it is dated 1177. There's the MP5 and there's the stylized HK. Plastic follower, not metal. I don't believe metal came into existence until 1980. Plastic follower. So if you've got a 70s dated HK mag and it's curved, plastic follower. And I will go through these too. Again, here's a different date. Plastic follower. The 78. Plastic follower. Plastic. Now we're into date codes. Now if you look here, this is really hard to see. It just says 9 by 19. It doesn't say HK MP5 anymore. It has a date code. I believe that's an IA. Metal follower. This one is an II. It has the 9 by 19, no HK, metal follower. Somehow I ended up with a bunch that say IG, metal follower. IJ, metal follower. IS, metal follower. None of these magazines are law enforcement magazines. These all are obviously, none of them are stamp restricted. The next one I have, which I ended up with, somehow ended up with 7 of them, are the early restricted ones, where they're engraved. They're not laser etched. They're actually engraved. If you run your finger across this, this is rough. Alright. All of mine are dated IE. I have 7 of them. And they're all engraved. Of course, they have the metal follower with this style of writing. I also have 2 other style law enforcement mags, which I know are HKs because they came from HK in post-sample guns. No date code. Still have the 9 by 19. No date code. And now the restricted law enforcement is laser etched. It's smooth to your touch. I believe these to be legitimate HK magazines because I know where I got them from. And everybody says, well, they don't have a date code. You know, a little history lesson here. If you think back to the assault weapons ban, HK wasn't allowed to import these anymore for civilian use, so there was no need for massive magazine production for MP5s. They only needed a few for whatever LE guns they were selling in the country. So we have, for reference, we have to go over to their pistol line. And if you follow their pistols like the USP, you will see their magazine manufacturing changed. They used to make what they call zipper mag, and now they don't. They also took the date codes off their pistol magazines. I think what happened here is when this magazine and other magazines that are laser engraved were brought in, they were brought in during the ban. HK wasn't either making them in-house or had changed their in-house marking procedures, but they had to engrave them, so they were laser engraved when they got to the US. I have 2 of these. And finally, I see a lot of fakes of these. This is actually a legitimate HK 15 rounder. It came with an SP89 pistol, metal follower, 15 rounds, date code, doesn't say HK. So when you're at a gun show and a guy's trying to sell you a 15 rounder, because I have one, I actually gave it to a friend of mine. It was a lopped off 30 rounder. We don't know if it was a German 30 rounder or not, because when they lopped the bottom off, they lost all the markings. I'm not trying to address aftermarket magazines. I'm just trying to address markings on HK magazines so we don't get ripped off. There are 2 other magazines that I'm aware of that are definitely, well, one's definitely HK, and depending on which article you read on the internet, one may be HK. One is the new German magazine that comes with the new HK pistol. It's marked 9x19, made in Germany. I don't have any of them. I don't have any need to buy one of those pistols, but be aware, if it's marked that way, it's probably a new production HK magazine. The other is the alleged Persian 40 rounders, or allegedly were made back in the 70s. My problem with these is I've never had one, a real one to look at. All the 70s magazines I've seen have plastic followers, as I showed you in the videos. The curved ones and the straight ones. But the few 40 round ones I have seen that were alleged to be Persian had metal followers. I find it hard to believe that they would put a metal follower in the magazine when they had plastic followers in every other type of magazine they were making at the same time. So please be careful, don't get ripped off, and I hope you can use this video as a little bit of reference so you don't get ripped off, because any thief I stop, I feel better about.